This man was lucky enough to pick up trash on the side of the road. He found a lottery ticket that won $100 million. He's so happy, but now he has to pretend to be poor because 2 hours ago, his wife hated him for being poor and filed for divorce. The financial advisors he consulted told him he'd get $100 million for the divorce. Mike was not happy. So before the divorce, in order not to let his wife find out that he had money, he sneaked into the mall, arranged a designer suit for himself, and bought a Rolex, carrying a big bag of luxury goods back home. He immediately hid all the things he bought into the abandoned warehouse. Then he started to process more than 100,000 bottles of top foreign wine, poured into a few dollars of red wine bottles, high-end meat sauce into cheap cans, imported ham into discount bags. Do all this at this time. His wife came home. He immediately lay down on the sofa. When his wife found him, the designer suit he was wearing had long since been removed, and his wife didn't care about the outfit and introduced him to his own work in the supermarket to work. In order not to arouse suspicion, Mike reluctantly agreed to. What he did not expect is that the owner of the supermarket is his own nemesis. The two just met. He was on the mic was a humiliation, but the thought of the $200 million, Mike still put up with it. So he worked during the day to pretend to be poor, and at night to the top hotels to relax. This day, the old man home guess. His wife took out a few dollars of red wine. Mike immediately fidgeted and said that this wine is too cheap. But his old man says, "What kind of wine can you buy?" But when he drank it, he realized something was wrong. "This wine is the same taste as the one I drank at a fancy party 10 years ago." Seeing that his father liked it, his wife said that there were several more bottles in the refrigerator, so she would take them all away. At this moment, Mike inside a burst of pain. "No way, cannot show can only endure the pain to raise the glass." I did not expect the old man to see the hands of the Rolex. He grabbed his wrist to see. Mike immediately pulled down the sleeve to cover the rush to explain that this is a $1,000 dollars to buy imitations on the side of the road. Fortunately, a cell phone ringing. "We checked some of them," said not their own cell phone. Mike suddenly confused, suddenly thought. He just replaced the latest cell phone does not seem to have a mute. This takeout will not be exposed. He suddenly had a bright idea. He suddenly had an idea and told his wife about the divorce, and she got up and left, making a scene. That day, he just came out of a fancy restaurant and ran into his wife and his nemesis on a date. Mike was furious. When they walked into the restaurant, Mike picked up a flower pot and smashed it against his rival's luxury car. Still not relieved, he pulls out a knife and stabs the tires. But he doesn't realize that he's smashing the wrong car. When he passed by a bar at night, he saw two of his best friends drinking and chatting. He took one look at them and turned away because he couldn't feed into their world now. What he needed was a rich friend. He went home and lay on the couch alone. There was no one to talk to. Then he suddenly thought, as long as the two friends into a rich man cannot do, he sent $8 million to his two friends in different ways. When he came out of the supermarket, he saw that his two best friends had bought a supercar. Mike thought they'd use the money to start a small business, but they started spending it all over the place. They took him for a ride in their car. Mike couldn't stand it anymore and couldn't help but say a few words to them, but he was mercilessly criticized by his friends. Thinking that Mike was jealous of them, Mike stopped pretending and told him he was a billionaire, and he drove his car into the sea. That night, he took his two friends to the yacht he bought. Pretending to be poor for 2 months, Mike indulged himself. Soon after, his rival's supermarket closed down. Mike went to the airport alone. He wanted to get out of here and live the life of a rich man. What would you do if you won $200 million in the lottery?